alam naman natin, all modern applications ngayon, ano na, parang future proof nila na pag tumaas yung demand natin, kailangan natin mag-scale.
Yes.
And ano ba ang una nating naiisip pag kailangan mag-scale? Containerization,
Containers.
cloud, and
Yeah,
Kubernetes,
mm-mm.
di ba?
Mm-mm.
So, siguro in the next few years, maging inevitable na every full stack engineer, every software engineer will eventually have to learn these concepts.
Mm.
Kahit hindi specialist,
Yeah,
especially kung
Agree.
hindi naman yun yung main job mo.
Yes.
Welcome to the Kaka Computer Podcast, where tech meets wit and wisdom. And for this episode, we're talking about cloud, Kubernetes, and AI. What new engineers must learn early. So, we have a lot of people here from the tech industry. I'm Luis.
I'm Piolo.
I'm Sam.
I'm Jace.
So, siguro ask ko muna, sa mga nabanggit ko, are you guys familiar with cloud or Kubernetes?
Yes.
Yes.
Wala, paano po pag hindi?
May ano ka na eh. Pero ka ng mga vlogs na pinapublish tukol dito eh. Pero, should engineers learn Kubernetes? Or, ano lang ba siya? Specialized skills lang ba siya? Or, siguro, every engineer ba, tingin nyo, should have an idea what Kubernetes is?
Sa akin, for me, there are two things na you can note for learning Kubernetes or any other technology actually. First, meron kasing generalist view. Yung hindi sila yung laging kailangan alam mo yung inner workings nung mismong Kubernetes, di ba? Yung how to do it na alam mo talaga. And also, yung specialist na dapat alam niya. We have generalist na gagamitin niya lang yung Kubernetes. Kasi ito, maganda. May example kasi rito eh. Sa generalist, dapat alam mo yung what and why nung Kubernetes. Alam mo kung ano yon, yung concept, di ba? Kasi generalist ka, you're going to use it, so you have to know the what. And we also have the specialist na ang alam niya naman is yung how and yung why. Kasi, ikaw na yung mag-work with Kubernetes mismo. Bale, dalawa yun eh. Yung generalist, gagamitin mo yung Kubernetes, apply mo siya. Yung inner workings ng Kubernetes sa specialist. One example for this is bioinformatician. So, bioinformatics kasi is a field wherein nagmi-mix yung tech and yung data science. Diba? Yung data science na tech and yung biology. Yung mga bioinformaticians, actually, they use yung sa workflows nila, Kubernetes, para ma-deliver nila yung ano. Kasi kapag naka-Kubernetes ka, it's like a shipping container eh. You're going to deliver yung buong application and dependencies and everything in it para dun sa mga next na gagamit. Like, hindi ka na mag-scramble sa mga dependencies to download and etc. Yun yung example na generalist. Yung mga bioinformaticians na yun, they don't need to know the how. They just need to know yung what. Ano pa yung Kubernetes? How I can apply that in my domain. Pero sa tech field like us, we need to know the how. Kasi andun tayo sa specialist na side. Yun yung take ko. Two things, generalist and specialist na take. When it comes to learning Kubernetes or any other technologies for me.
Sa akin naman, as a solutions architect perspective, not necessarily na matutunan mo yung Kubernetes. Pero syempre, kung back-end developer ka or full stack developer ka, beneficial yun eh. Kasi malaking bagay kasi most of the applications ngayon is nasa nasa microservices na siya. So you need to and event-driven architecture niya. So sa case namin, yung architecture namin is event-driven siya. So nakalagay siya sa Docker Kubernetes tapos nilagay din namin siya sa Helm. So naging beneficial sa amin yun eh. Kasi natutunan namin ito para ma-explore namin yung architecture namin. Kasi siyempre, nung gumawa kami ng architecture, siyempre, design lang siya eh. So, nung time na nag-POC kami, that's the time na, talagang, inaral talaga namin yung Kubernetes. Siyempre, from the start, medyo stiff talaga yung learning curve niya eh. Mahirap talaga siya eh. Mahirap, 'di ba? Para ka rin kasi nagpo-program doon sa sa Kubernetes pero via YAML yung file niya. So parang siyempre sa unang service, isang deployment YAML saka service YAML lang siya. Pero as the time goes by, ano na siya, parami na ng parami yung, yung configurations mo. So that's the time na kailangan mo ng medyo nagiging komplikado na siya. Pero as much as possible, kung nasa back-end or full stack developer ka, ano yun, must need talagang matutunan yun. Kasi syempre, hindi ka lang naman dapat maging developer.
Yeah.
So kasi ngayon, pwede ka na mag-DevOps, lalo na pag startup ka. So kailangan mong malaman yung mga ganong klaseng mga platforms and tools. So ayun sa akin lang. Sige. How about you?
Ano sir, same sentiment tayo kasi for me, it's a nice thing to learn, but that doesn't mean na you have to apply it, especially if hindi naman masyado kailangan dun sa ginagawa mo. Of course, holistic yung approach when it comes to software development from front end to back end up until DevOps.
Yes.
If may idea ka on how it works, you can augment your workflow.
Yes,
Diba?
correct.
Not necessarily na i-apply mo, hindi. Parang magiging empathetic ka lang din dun sa other side. Let's say you're working front end, tapos medyo may disagreements kayo with back end on how to ship what you're doing. You try to learn Kubernetes and Docker for containerizing and container orchestration. Kapag may idea ka na on how it works, mag-augment yung workflow nyo to the point where it becomes complementary to one another. So for me, not necessarily you need to do it, but essentially you need to learn it.
Beneficial talaga.
Ah.
Agree.
Siguro for me, hindi siya essential for all engineers. Siguro depende kung ano yung role mo. Kasi there are positions ngayon na tinatawag ng cloud native na full stack, na yung mga nag-full stack ngayon is nag-stand as cloud engineers na rin. Sila kailangan knowledgeable sila in deploying yung mga features na ginagawa nila. And I think especially in the future na tumataas yung demand sa mga software engineers. It is something that it is very beneficial na matutunan. Sa tulad yung sinabi ni Sam, kung yung mga clients natin, mga stakeholders natin, ang need nila malaman is yung generalist view. Tayo yung specialist view, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi it is something na kailangan na even if hindi mo ito yung gagamitin mo sa trabaho mo, kailangan may idea ka dito kasi this is where your product will live sa Kubernetes, 'di ba? Sa
Exactly.
cloud.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
Tsaka, with the advent of microservices, parang sobrang essential na ng Kubernetes ngayon. Parang almost all modern applications are built on microservices eh.
Kasi alam naman natin, all modern applications ngayon, parang future proof nila na pag tumaas yung demand natin, kailangan natin mag-scale.
Yeah.
And ano ba ang una nating naiisip pag kailangan mag-scale? Containerization,
Containers.
cloud, and Kubernetes, 'di ba? So siguro in the next few years maging inevitable na every full stack engineer, every software engineer will eventually have to learn these concepts kahit hindi specialist kasi especially kung
Agree.
hindi naman yun yung main job mo.
Yes.
Pero at some point they will encounter it, 'di ba? Inevitable na yun. So eto, ilang beses na natanong sa podcast na to siguro. Medyo controversial na. Is AI replacing
Hot take ba
junior
to?
developers?
Ano ba?
Tawagin nyo kasi Boss
hot
Rod.
take.
Hot take
Hot
dito
take
eh.
pa ba to? Kasi ang general consensus ngayon, medyo hati. May side na nagsasabi na it's becoming human-like, lalo na sa modern workflow. Not just necessarily related to tech. We've been seeing some news na some industries are actually being replaced, yung nagtatrabaho na humans by AI or agents or whatsoever. It would be an advantage on my perspective to know what kinds of tools that you're using na pwedeng i-augment ni AI. Kasi at the end of the day, it will just churn out. Pag hindi rin naman marunong yung gumagamit, ano yung kakalabasan? It will be nothing. So, not necessarily replacing but augmenting.
Yes.
Yun yung feeling kong tamang term.
Sa akin naman, kasi ako, nasa traditional ako, kasi since I was 15 years na ako sa industry.
Mm.
So nasa traditional ako na way.
Yes.
So siyempre nagkaroon ako kasi ngayon more on sa upscaling na lang kahit hindi ka related ka sa IT, 'di ba? So ngayon naman since ako nasa traditional ako, so talagang nag-ano sa akin yung foundation. So foundation. So siyempre, since alam mo yung foundation, alam mo yung foundation ng web development, alam mo kung paano gumagana HTTP, alam mo gumagana yung yung API, kung paano yung concept ng database sa indexing and sa caching. So mas madali mong ma-utilize yung AI. Mas madaling mag-prompt. Kasi 'di ba, ako kasi hindi na ako gumagamit ng AI na okay, please create mo ako ng gantong website. Hindi na ako ganoon eh. Kumbaga, ang tanong ko lagi is ano ang best practice sa gantong senaryo? Ganun na yung kunyari sinabi ng AI ganto, bakit naging ganyan yung best practice mo? So ako na, kumbaga, ko siya, mas madali yung learning curve pag meron kang AI. Kasi kagaya naman dati, natututo naman talaga dati sa Google, pero kasi kailangan mo pang maghanap ng reliable source. So ikaw, ngayon, since meron ng AI dyan, kung ang sinasabi ng AI is ito yung best practice, all you have to do is to create a POC behind it. Kasi doon mo mapapatunayan na tama yung AI. Kasi pwede mong balikan si AI, hindi naman yan yung best practice kasi based doon sa findings ko ito eh. So 'di ba parang hindi siya kumbaga sa akin hindi siya kumbaga i-replace mo yung developer. Kumbaga mas i-enhance mo yung developer on how to utilize the tool.
Kaka Computer is made possible by the support of our community and sponsors. If you believe in empowering IT professionals and want to be part of our journey, we'd love to have you on board. Visit patreon.com/kakacomputer to become a sponsor today.
May add-on po ako dyan.
Sige,
Kasi, alam niyo yung concept yung bago ngayon sa AWS, yung AI DLC, yung AI Development Lifecycle, right? So, similar po on top nung sa sinasabi niyo, sir, important na alam mo yung tech. Like yung fundamentals, bago ka gumamit ng AI. Kasi, gaya na sinabi niyo, kung di ka marunong mag-prompt, di ba, ano yung kalalabasan niya? It depends sa kung ano yung alam mo rin. Just like dun sa AI DLC, ang center kasi nun is parang mag-start si AI na mag-create, pero kakausapin ka niya. Like parang palitan kayo. You will respond. Yung role ng developer dito, nag-transcend na siya beyond just writing code. Andun na siya sa problem solving eh. Kasi siya yung nag-iisip, siya yung nagva-validate kada step. Doon sa framework kasi na yon, yung AI mag-a-ask, okay, ano yung intent? Ano yung project na gusto mo nating ma-achieve? Ganyan. Tapos, sasagot ka, and then, idedepend niya doon. Hindi, bago niya execute, ma-validate mo. Parang kada step. Hindi lang siya, okay, create me a website, tas bahala ka na. 'Di ba?
Ayun yung sinabi nilang vibe coding talaga.
Yes.
Pero kasi more technical yung ganong side, hindi yung magsasabi ka lang na I want to build this, help me. Tas,
Help
Oo,
me.
yes.
Anong error yan?
Yes, oo.
ang common tendencies lalo na ng mga nagsisimula, then they skip the theoretical part. Kukunin lang nila yung error log.
Oo.
Space mo.
Space lang.
Gawain ko din yan dati.
Oo nga.
Gawain ko din yan dati.
Oo.
Pero it's not recommended. You try
Yes.
to debug it yourself first.
Yes.
Tama.
Kasi since ako, minamaximize ko yung AI eh. So lalo pa nagde-debug ako.
Yes.
Ang ginagawa ko, minsan tinatanong ko si yung AI kung based doon sa observation ng mga prompt ko, anong level na ba ako as software engineer? Middle na ba?
Yeah.
Senior na ba? Principal na ba? Parang siyempre, parang nakikipag-usap ako
Yes,
eh.
yes.
Parang sinasabi sa akin na based doon sa mga prompts mo in the past few weeks, parang senior level full stack developer ka na. Parang hindi ako agad maniniwala doon, di ba? Parang, ano pa pare, sige, cite me an example.
Yeah.
Okay, ito yung mga tinatanong mo eh. Ito, paano naging ganito yung best practice? Okay. So ako naman, naniniwala naman ako. Yung parang
You have to look at, ano ba pinagkaiba ng junior developer sa senior
Yes.
developer, di ba?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, ano bang major na pagkakaiba nila? Senior developers know how to architect the solution.
Yes,
correct.
yes.
Tama.
Junior developers, sila yung gumagawa ng features na sabi mo, gawin mo tong feature nito, ganyan. Pero, yung gumagawa ng mismong system, like yung nag-architect ng mismong system, mga solutions architect, solutions designer, senior developers, di ba? So, siguro that's why people are saying na AI will replace junior developers kasi AI can code, di ba?
Yeah.
Yes.
Siguro that's what junior developers have to learn. How can they design the solutions?
Exactly,
Diba?
yes.
Kasi ayun yung what sets us apart from beginner to experience.
Yeah,
diba?
yeah.
So,
May interesting question dito.
Mhm.
As we all know, there are different cloud service providers.
Yeah.
Di na ako magbabanggit. Pero, when you're starting or eventually you're building your career in the cloud, do you have to focus on a single CSP or, you try to delve into other CSPs as well? Parang magfo-focus ka ba sa particular cloud service provider or, you're gonna try other cloud service providers as well?
Sa akin as a kumbaga sa corporate side, do sa namin is AWS talaga yung namin platform namin eh. So kung ang tanong dito is kung kailangan ba na magkaroon ng multi-cloud or single cloud lang sa architecture mo, ang sagot ko rito is sa akin lang to sa akin lang to enough na yung single cloud, pero dapat yung yung disaster and fault tolerance mo is magkaibang region. Magkaibang region. Kasi 'di ba, yung nangyayari ngayon is sabi nila kailangan daw i-deploy natin siya sa ibang availability zone. Pero what if yung buong region is knockdown? Down din yung server mo. 'Di ba? So ayun nga, based dun sa sasabi dun sa isang talk na na-attendan ko, in terms of cost efficient, kung mas maganda na kahit na single cloud lang, as long as magkahiwalay ng region. Kasi ako, as a solution architect, natry ko nang mag-design ng multi-cloud eh. Sabihin natin, Azure o kaya AWS. So, kunya sabihin mo, yung primary region mo is AWS, tapos yung isa is yung meron kasing mga services na wala yung isa't isa. Saka based doon sa cost, ang laki ng diferensya eh. So tapos yung isa sabihin mo doon, either of the two, gagawin mo lang siyang parang yung disaster recovery. So hindi mo siya na-utilize pero nagbabayad ka ng mahal. So kung sa akin kung ako masusunod, go with the single cloud. Pero siyempre discretion pa din ng company niyo yun eh. Kung sabi ng roadmap mo is we have to create multi-cloud. So ganun yung magiging application.
Para kasi siyang what features do you need ba sa cloud service provider na to?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Kung mag-google ka, ano bang benefits nun? One of the benefits is gagamitin mo yung Google API.
Yeah.
Diba? Kailangan mo nung seamless integration sa Maps. Kailangan mo ng seamless integration sa Drive. Which is beneficial pag nasa GCP ka kasi na yun eh, parang one-stop shop na siya eh. Nandun na lahat ng kailangan mo.
Yeah.
Pero if gusto naman na gamitin yung AI features ng AWS, mas gusto mo yung features doon ng AWS, doon ka. It's parang ano bang kailangan mo? Ano bang yung
Correct.
need mo? Ano ba yung goal mo
Yes.
in building this
Depends.
application? Kasi tulad nga sabi ni Sir, kung resiliency lang naman, why are you going multi-cloud? 'Di ba? If backup lang naman yung isang cloud mo.
Correct.
It adds complexity, 'di ba?
Exactly.
Pero kapag ka mag-multi-region ka sa isang cloud, mas madali yung kasi you're just gonna copy the configuration of one region to another.
Yes.
Pero wala ka masyadong ibahin. it eliminates the complexity pero it adds resiliency sa system mo.
And also yung cost din kasi.
Oo.
Yes,
Yung cost-
yes.
At the end of the day, it's about cost.
Yes, siyempre sa architecture mo, lalo sa mga non-functional requirements, kasama yung cost doon eh.
Yeah.
So hindi lang siya more on sa performance, sa scalability, sa functionality or sa elasticity ng ng architecture eh. So we need to consider the cost. Kasi kahit ba sabihin mong sobrang ganda niyan, kung hindi naman kayang i-afford ng company,
Yes.
i-reject lang din yan eh.
True, true.
Siguro last question, especially a lot of our viewers are students and some are people na gustong magano sa tech industry. Should students learn cloud before learning back-end fundamentals? Siguro for me, it's not the other way around, but hindi naman need na cloud muna.
Yeah.
Correct.
'Di ba? Ano bang aim mo? Do you want to be a full stack developer? Then learn cloud and then back-end, 'di ba? Kasi magano 'yun eh. It goes hand in hand, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Pero if you learn back-end, definitely it is beneficial to learn cloud,
Yes.
'di ba?
Yeah.
Hindi siya interchangeable siya kung ano yung pinaka-goal mo. Do you want to
Yeah.
learn how to architect systems? You can start with cloud. Coder ka ba? You can start with back-end. Hindi naman necessarily mauna yung isa. You have to define ano ba yung career na gusto mong tahakin, 'di ba? It's something na pakiramdaman lang yan eh. Ano bang pakiramdam mo ngayon? Ano pa? Ngayong araw ba cloud ba gusto mo?
Actually, it's all about the timing.
Yeah.
Kasi pag ka sa back-end development, dadaanan mo kailangan mo maintindihan yung concept ng HTTP,
Yeah.
yung caching, API limiting, lahat eh. Tapos, marirealize mo na lang na, oops, kailangan ko siyang, kumbaga ikaw na rin makaka-realize na kailangan mong aralin yung cloud.
Yes.
Kasi essential siya dun sa gagawin mo.
Along the way na siya.
Along the way
Yeah.
na siya.
Siguro last thought, concept-wise, mas madaling aralin si cloud. Concept-wise. Pero
Yes,
in terms of, practical application,
Oh, yeah.
medyo mataas yung learning curve ng back-end. If you have no experience with programming at all.
Yes,
So, if you're gonna start, tas wala ka talagang from ground up, start with cloud concepts, tapos tawid mo na from back-end fundamentals. So, I guess that's it from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to our sponsors, Tutorials Dojo, Young CTO, Amazon Web Services User Group Philippines, Facebook subscribers. On to our next video topic.